Make sure you guys subscribe and turn on my notification bell. Thanks for watching. What's up, y'all? So today I was thinking let's do Allen Iverson. This is upon request. One of my viewers asked me to do Allen Iverson, so let's do it. Seems like y'all like seeing me do other athletes mostly when I do this, or other STPs, both. That's what it seems like. I guess it's easier for me because I'm an athlete. I've seen a lot of athletes, so one thing I will say about as far as Allen Iverson's type before we get started, I've already looked at Allen Iverson a lot. He's one of my favorite players ever. He's like my top three. So what are my top three? Allen Iverson, LeBron, Jordan, Derrick Rose. Those are like my top four. I don't know if I have a one more somewhere, but can't think right now. But yeah, man. I think I'm gonna do. So after this, I think I'm gonna do like Floyd Mayweather and Kobe Bryant or something like that. But I got some other ones. Maybe I'll switch it up and do somebody that's not an athlete for a change though. Cause for me, typing athletes is actually, I think that's one of my niche within my niche. My niche is typing celebrities. I say within my niche and myers-briggs, I would say even is typing basketball players, and not even just basketball players, just athletes. I don't know. I really like typing athletes, but before we get started with that, I would say I think Allen Iverson is STP for sure. With him though, I kind of be on the fence about him. I mean, to some of y'all it might seem like obvious he's an ESTP. It was obvious he's an ISTP, but just to be open minded, you can actually from experience, sometimes you never know, man. It's actually kind of hard to tell with Allen Iverson because you got the quieter ESTPs in real life, and you got the ISTPs that are a little more, that can come off a little more like extroverted almost. It's not even because they're extroverted; they're still not very talkative. They're not necessarily very social, but But we can be outgoing, stuff like that. So we can have a colorful, thing about it is it's colorful. Not all ISTPs are like cold. Like we're cold, but we're not all like dry and as far as the way we dress and stuff like that. We're not always like that. Sometimes we're very expressive in the way we dress and stuff. We're not always wearing like plain colors and stuff. I don't know. Some people depict us as that, but not always. It can depend on the ISTP. So some ISTPs are very colorful. They wear a lot of tattoos. They wear a lot they dress real well. Then there's others ISTPs that don't care so much about dressing well and stuff like that. Yeah, so, but yeah, I'll say the way that he plays is definitely the way STPs play in sports. Basically, the reason why he's able to cross people so well and break ankles is because he has very fast reaction time. The people with the fast reaction time in sports are going to be STPs. Mainly, I think STPs, we have a slight edge on that. Even we have real good reaction times and stuff like that. Tend to split-second decisions and stuff like that. That's what Allen Iverson does. He looks at his opponent when he's crossing people. He reads their body, pretty much. Just from me observing him play, he pretty much reads his opponent's body. He goes off what the opponent gives him. And that's what the best players do, anyway. But yeah. Whereas some other types, like if they're good at sports, they might actually go in there with more of a plan. Like they're not necessarily always going to react to what's going on as much as we do. They're not quite as good as the SPs. So yeah, but STPs, man, that's how they play. That's how we play. Though, man, STPs are real elusive. We can be real elusive in sports, like the elusive running back. The elusive. Like me, I try to be elusive. Like at some point, I'm hoping to be super in basketball. My handles have improved dramatically. I wouldn't always, because I used to have to play big because my team with people were shorter. But I was like real athletic always. I was fast. I could run fast. I move fast. very agile. I'm kind of all over the place. I play more like a shooting guard, small forward, but I used to have to play big, simply because I was the tallest dude on the team. This is everybody on the team was like real small sometimes. I'm not even I'm not like 7 feet. I'm like six. I'm 6'4.5". If y'all want to know how tall I am, but like in high school, you know, maybe on the team everybody's just short. So, yeah. But anyways, yeah. Another thing about STPs in sports, STPs tend to have really good hand-eye coordination. Not saying SFPs don't. SFPs are they're amazing athletes. Actually, two of the I'll probably do another video about this, but the two athletes I've known that were the greatest athletes I've ever met, they were both ESFPs. So I'm definitely not taking them away from them. They are they crazy. Like, they don't even have to think about it. They just thoughtless. They just do it. Like, at least we had to think about it. I'm more amazed by SFP athletes sometimes. But anyways, we're we tend to have really good hand-eye coordination. Like, me personally, as an STP, I always had really good hand-eye coordination. I was always good at catching, except for maybe a short period of time when I hit puberty, and I had to get back used to my body, which would be like freshman year of high school. So I was actually kind of I would say I was uncoordinated for a short period of time, because simply I just wasn't used to my body. I hit this dramatic growth spurt. I was always tall, but I hit I wouldn't say a huge growth spurt, but I hit a growth spurt, and my muscles weren't. My muscles had to develop to match my body. Yeah, Allen Iverson has good hand-eye coordination. That's why he can dribble well. If y'all don't know anything about dribbling requires a lot of good hand-eye coordination, because you have to be able to tap the ball and have control over the ball, and you have to hit the ball in the right little spot in order for you to execute a move well. And the fact that he crosses people with his move, that means he does his moves with really good form. He also revolutionized the way ball handling too, because you can tell. I would say he has an STP mindset, because the way he looked at basketball, he really broke a lot of rules. He was the first athlete to go be a professional basketball player in the NBA and have cornrows and have tattoos all over him, because he just didn't care. He said, "I'm just gonna be myself." That's a very similar mindset to me. Like, that's how I am. I'm real like that. But at the same time, I don't just go out of my way to be disrespectful to anybody. I would I'll say I would be like that if it was conflicting with me and I just thought it was completely stupid. But I'm not I don't get in trouble like this. I'm not like a person that gets in trouble a lot. So, but say if the rules conflicted with my agenda, yeah, I would. I'm not gonna lie. I've never been to jail, and I'm not like a lot of STPs can be criminals, but I'm not. I didn't get in trouble at school a lot either. But yeah, man, he broke a lot of rules, and since then everybody been having tattoos and stuff like that. Yeah, he was the first one. And then as far as how he dribbles, coaches used to say, like, if you hear it even now, coaches always tell you don't dribble. The way that he dribbles, they tell you not to dribble like that. He dribbles real wide, stuff like that. Coaches tell you not to dribble like that, though. In the NBA, that's something you do, like when you're doing pickup games. He did it though, because he just discarded the rules. That's what we do. We discard some rules if we know it's like, all right, man. Just because everybody else doing that don't mean I got to do it. That's how TI users think, man. But he discarded those rules, and he ended up making it. He showed everybody that you can dribble like that and be good. You know what I'm saying? But the reason, he dribbles real wide, allows him to use his footwork, stuff like that. And he kind of steps back kind of far sometimes, just so he can size up his opponent. That's how STPs play sports. We size up our opponents, stuff like that. We're good at sports where we can really size up our opponents. But anyways, let's get into this, man. I don't want to talk all day. All right. Here we go.
Some people call him AI. On the basketball court, he's the answer. To the world, he's NBA superstar Allen Iverson. And I've got him right here in studio. Next, or quite frankly, Can't say is that he can't play the game.
Man, he is unconscious.
Boy,
Unconscious.
just on fire.
47
One of my
for
favorite players,
Iverson.
man. He was cold.
Iverson, yes, and we see.
I can't see this. This resolution horrible.
Came out wide open floor.
Iverson commands attention with a sky-high scoring average and a take-no-prisoner style, athletically and verbally.
The thing about him I respect and admire, he's tough. If you hit him, he's gonna keep coming back.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
that's an STP mindset too, man. That's our way of being tough. Like, we always come back at you, man. We have a fighter's mentality. That's STP mentality. Like, that's how I think. Like, I have a fighter's mentality. I get knocked down and I always get back up. You know what I'm saying? That's my mentality. I look back and I reflect on it, think about what I might have done wrong, and I keep going. That's how STPs. That's why we're considered some of the toughest, because of that mindset. We just keep coming. Well, if you knock us down, we keep coming back. And Allen Iverson reminds me a lot of myself too, man. When I'm looking at him, he reminds me a lot of myself, in a lot of ways. That's how I think, man. I keep coming. That way I'm tough. So that's an STP mindset, though. Ideal sport. I think the most ideal sport for STPs is boxing. That's just my opinion, though, because we really can size up our opponent. We take a hit, keep coming. You know what I mean? We got that mindset, man. We don't stop coming. We don't give up. Like, if we gonna lose a fight, we gonna lose. We gonna put in our top effort. You know what I'm saying? So just so y'all know, that's how we are in sports. So.
the little guy, he is something.
He takes a beating.
Allen is probably one of the most bodily tough-minded
He's small,
athletes
too.
that I've ever encountered.
He like 6 even.
Whatever his relationship with Philadelphia
He like
and
6 feet
basketball
tall,
fans
160
worldwide,
pounds, something like
there
that.
is no doubt that Iverson is an
That's small,
MVP.
but
He is one of the most prolific offensive players to ever play this game, and arguably, no disrespect to Nate Archibald or Isaiah Thomas, but maybe the greatest little man to ever play the game of basketball. Give it up. Allen Iverson.
I've also been told by a couple people, I don't know what they was looking at, but by the way I dribble, I remember going to a combine. I was compared to Allen Iverson at one of the combines. I was like they said I was like a taller Allen Iverson or something like that. I don't know if everybody sees that, but I've also been told that in another case. This dude told me that before, but that's just interesting because I think he's an STP and I'm an STP. So I don't know. I think maybe it's the way I dribble or something. And it's not even like I copy off of my Allen Iverson. You know what I'm saying? It's just naturally, as far as the moves I do, maybe it looks like it, but we'll see. If they show any highlights of it.
Four times, man. Four times, man.
I see you looking around and everything. I mean, what's up with that? Do you like the studio?
Love it.
Yeah.
You like it?
I mean,
This right here, man. Hearing how people observe him, they say he looking at him looking around. That's what we do when we come into a new environment. If you know anything about ISTPs, ESTPs, we tend to look at everything when we go into a new environment. Super observant. I get told that all the time when I go on somebody, like if I'm visiting somebody's house or something I've never been to. One of the first things I've heard people notice about me, they say, "Man, you observing, ain't you? You looking at everything." I'm like, "Yeah." That's the first thing I do instinctually. When I go somewhere, that's what he's doing right now. He looks at it. You look at everything. You know what I'm saying? I look at everything when I go into a new environment. I just look at all my surroundings, and it's something I do without even thinking. I don't even realize I do it.
you came a long way. You large, dog. You large.
Pull
man.
your hat up so everybody can see your face just a little bit. Just a little bit.
They know it's me.
Let me ask you a question. First of all, before we even get into anything
Stephen A.
else.
Smith, man, I think he might be an ESTJ, but I haven't really thought too hard about that. I like Stephen A. Smith. Well, do I like him? He cool. I mean, I think I like hearing him talk about stuff, but I'm not saying, I don't know. I don't have much of an opinion on him. He cool. I think he might be ESTJ though. He be debating all the time. He's real like, I don't know. We'll see.
The Sixers. I got to get into the Sixers. Obviously, you guys finished like 43-39 last year. Went to the first round of the playoffs before losing to the eventual Eastern Conference champion Detroit Pistons. How do you like this team right now? You've got a new coach.
I love it, man. The situation beautiful. It's like out of all the hardships and going through everything in my life, you know, and the last 10 years, the environment is going to be like I like it. You know,
I'm looking at his energy in this video. His energy, I don't know, man. See, it's confusing with him, man. I think but just looking at this, I think he probably is an ISTP as opposed to ESTP. I'm looking at the way his energy is. I don't know, man. He has his introvert. I don't know. His energy, I don't know. He seems kind of introverted. But what does it have to look? There's not enough information. I'm just going off right now. So,
saying it's like I have a relationship with Maurice Cheeks. You know, we cool with each other. We're friends. You know, we always been friends. He was my coach, and when I was going through my little things with Coach Brown, he would tap me and say, "Hey, I chill, man. It's all right. It'll be all right. Hold your head. You know, things will get better." And he went through those things with me. You know what I'm saying? So now, you know, he know who he's coaching. You know, he's been there with me before. You know, and I'm just all for him. I'm happy it's like that. The environment seems the way it's supposed to be. Billy's done everything right.
Billy King's talking about Billy King, president of basketball operations and the GM for the 76ers.
Definitely. He made sure everything is working. I mean, he's earning his money big time.
Let me read a quote. This is what Mr. Allen Iverson had to say about Maurice Cheeks. I'm going to read this quote for you, all right? I didn't want to do it in front of the camera, but I wanted to take him in the back and kiss him on the mouth. What's up with that?
Hey, look, I mean, don't get it twisted. I mean, it ain't like that, you know. But I mean, that's just the love, man. That's how I felt, man. It was like, you know, I finally got the coach that I really, really wanted to play for. Like, you know, I was thinking, like, if I could play for Coach Thompson, that would be beautiful. I would love that, you know what I'm saying? But anybody else, you know, I would rather it be Maurice Cheeks. You know, we was going after him, and Portland would let us talk to him, and it was just crazy. But now, you know, he's right here with us. He's a part of the Philadelphia family. I hope I'm accepted and you know, is a part of the Philadelphia family. And we just ready to go. I'm just looking forward to just playing basketball, just getting back to it.
What is, I mean, with all due respect, what is Mo Cheeks going to bring out of you that we haven't seen?
The way he said that, the way he said, I'm looking forward to getting back into basketball, I'm looking at the way he said it. I'm not necessarily looking at what he said, face value. The way he said it, it sounds very extroverted sense of like he just want to get into it, man. He don't want to sit and talk about it. He don't want to wait. You know what I'm saying? He'd rather just get started. You know what I'm saying? That's extroverted sensors think like that. So, yeah. I mean, of course, that's not one, you know, that's just one thing based on other things I've discovered about him, of course, but, you know.
Already. I mean, you averaged over 30 points like 3 times. I mean, you averaged, you know, do you know that you came into the league in 1996 and you've averaged more than 27 points per game? Nobody in the league has averaged that in their career in their first 9 seasons. Do you know that? So what are we supposed to expect from Mo Cheeks that we haven't seen from you?
I mean, it's like I said, it's the environment, man. Like a lot of those times you saying I was scoring those points and stuff, going to those games, I was really upset a lot of times about different situations, you know what I'm saying? And now it's not about just being mad all the time about your work situation. You're supposed to want to go to work. You're supposed to always want to go to work.
But what were the kind of things that you were upset about in terms of your work situation? Give us an example.
The environment, just the environment. Everybody uptight, you know, everybody seemed like they was mad all the time. You know, everybody was, you know, at each other. You know what I mean? And it was
yeah, man. I think that's something that's important for extroverted senses, like being in a nice environment. Not so much we're adaptable. Not so much a thing where we can't handle ourselves in certain environments. We adapt to our environments. So I think his environment rubbed off on him, and they just put him in a bad mood, which is more. I think it's more of a thing to attribute to STP's trait as far as being adaptable than it is something else. You know what I'm saying? I relate with that, man. Like if you want to, if you know no example, like go look at my video, my haters video or whatever. When I was talking about the environment of the football team I was on in high school, like I was in. I'm not gonna lie, I was in some like my home environment wasn't too good around that time. Also, my environment at as far as being on that sports team wasn't that good either. It's just like the fact that so many people was like a bunch of haters on that team, man. Pretty much the same thing he's saying, except that's his situation. But if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, just go watch my video when I was talking about haters, or whatever, how to deal with haters or something like that. I forgot what I titled it, but I don't know, I put a link up or something. I remember to put it up at around 20-something seconds. Minutes.
Isn't right. This situation, this is a guy that if you have a problem with this guy, it's something that you did. I really believe that in my heart. You know what I mean? It's like that with me and him. I can't wait till somebody act like they don't want to pay attention to what he got to say.
What are you going to do?
I don't even want to say what I'm going to say on
like Bruce Lee.
I can't do it. This is HBO.
No, it's not HBO.
All right.
He's very animated when he's talking. Just like kind of like Bruce Lee, man. Bruce Lee, he looked like he was doing a little more thinking though. So, like if you go look at that Bruce Lee, it looked like he was being a little bit more. He was using a little more NI. Or at least so far, I can't tell him using a whole lot of NI yet. But we'll see, man. It's pretty early to even say that. So.
I mean, you could say it in a comfortable and acceptable fashion. You are with me.
They're gonna know that I'm fighting with Maurice Cheeks. They're gonna know that he's running this shit. And I'm just one of his generals. I'm just somebody. I'm just one of his. Like that with me and him. I can't wait till somebody act like they don't want to pay attention to what he got to say.
What are you gonna do?
I don't even want to say what I'm going to say on camera.
Okay. That looks like a trait of low FE. FE, like say if he had more FE in him, if maybe he was an FE type, instead of him choosing not to say what he's going to say, he's taking the safe route because he don't know how it's going to come off to people. That's something I do a lot. That's why I'm, so quiet. And that's why I keep a lot of things myself sometimes. Because you never know, man. I don't really have a good idea all the time of how people are going to feel about certain things I might say, or how far they're going to take it, or they're going to know I'm joking. So sometimes I just choose not to say nothing. That's what he's basically doing right here. He don't know if it's appropriate to say, so he'd rather take the safe route and not say it. Now, on the contrast, we might also just be like, man, I don't care. I'm just going to say it. I don't care how y'all take it. Which is also low FE. It's just an overcompensation, which is what he's doing right now. He's overcompensating for his low FE. He doesn't know how people going to feel about it. So he said, I'm just not going to say it. And then what did Stephen A. Smith just say right here?
I can't do it. This is HBO.
No, it's not HBO.
All right.
It's not HBO. I mean, you could say it in a comfortable and acceptable way.
Yeah. So he's basically telling them here, I think he can, Stephen A. Smith can kind of read Allen Iverson in a way. I think he understands him very well. But he's telling him to try to come with a comfortable, acceptable way to say it, which is extroverted feeling. But I'm getting here is that Allen Iverson is not so. He knows he's not so good at doing that. So he knows that he's just gonna be blunt, or he's just not gonna say nothing. That's his way of doing. That's his way of handling it, as opposed to trying to use FE, because he doesn't know. Sometimes I even go as far as like I might end up walking on eggshells, and I might choose not to say certain things, thinking it might offend people, but it's not gonna offend them. Like, and then the person I'm talking to will be like, go ahead and say it. And I'll say it, and it's like, okay, that's not bad. I don't know, why did you have a problem with saying that? I was like, I didn't know how you was going to take it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the mindset here that's being displayed.
It's me.
They're going to know that I'm fighting with Maurice Cheeks. They're going to know that he's running this shit. And I'm just one of his generals. I'm just somebody. I'm just one of his captains, one of his soldiers. That's all. But I'm a veteran soldier. I'm one that can stand up, to whatever. He can be the boss. I just be the underboss.
Weren't you this way with other coaches to some degree, though?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Everything with my whole situation always been misconstrued. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're an inside person, then you really know what's going on. If not, it always looked like Allen Iverson, the bad guy, the guy that can't get along with his coach. Why wouldn't I get along with the guy that's trying to accomplish the same thing that I'm trying to accomplish? I don't have an ego. I mean, I don't get on TV and talk about Allen Iverson is the greatest basketball player in the world, this, that, and the third. Turn the TV on or come to a game and watch and judge for yourself. You know what I mean? I don't have no egos with no teammates or nothing like that. I'm me. You know, I'm satisfied with who God made as a basketball player, as a person, as a husband, as a father, as a friend, as a brother. I mean, anything, man. I'm me, and I don't have a problem with people. And that's how I got. You know, it started to be an argument, you know, instead of us handling an inside situation. It got out. You start talking about it. Other people start talking about it. It's on ESPN, the practice whole thing. How can you be all those things as you said I was if I didn't practice? People make a big deal over the practice thing because I'm mad. I'm upset. It's after I just got in a meeting with in a meeting with Coach and Billy King. I was upset.
That was
I shouldn't have
completely
did it.
taken out of
Well, let me
context.
tell you this. This is why I'm happy to have you on the show. Because all those things that were misconstrued, you're going to have an opportunity to talk about
That's
it.
sort of the thing, too, where with low FE, STPs, I'm thinking he might be an ISTP on his interview, though. Based on his interview, I think he might be actually an ISTP. But I know with ISTP, like, go look at Personality Hack. They either did a podcast. I don't know if it was on the podcast or the video, but they was talking about how we, when we start using our SE, we also end up using our extroverted feeling. Well, the reason why we would be stuck in the TINI loop would be because we try to use our extroverted sensing, but through us using our extroverted sensing, we end up using our extroverted feeling, or we end up getting put in a situation where extroverted feeling sort of situations start to spring up, and it's kind of annoying. Like, you know, they described it as like sort of the games people sort of play will try to play with you. Way people can be sort of manipulative, and that's sort of extroverted feeling. Extroverted feelings can deal with those situations better than somebody that's not extroverted feel. Like the games and the way people can manipulate certain things and say you said this and that, and take the things you say out of context, which has happened to me before. You know what I'm saying? Or take the things you do and say out of context. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's happening to him. Sometimes they can spot it in us, the fact that we don't like to be, you know, we like to mind our business and stuff like that. So they'll take advantage and, you know, try to twist things we say and do around, and they'll know that we won't really know how to deal with it and play the game back with them. So they try to take advantage of it and you know, play with us like that. So that does happen, man. That looks like that's what he's talking about right now.
It's 3 minutes. You got a whole platform for
got it,
Stephen A. Smith on Quite Frankly. We'll be right back.
Yes,
the man's in the house. Allen Iverson. Check it out.
We're talking about practice, man. We're not even talking about the game,
not really
actual
what he
game,
meant,
when it matters. We're talking about practice.
Up
Yeah,
next,
he took that.
Allen Iverson
He got
takes
that
a walk
intensity
down
in his
memory-
eyes too. I don't know if you guys just see that, but people always talk about how he looks intense. He has this intense look. His pupils are dilated. That's extroverted sensor. He really focuses on what he's looking at. He really looks at everything. He's very visual. I noticed that about him. That's why he plays. He plays because the way he plays is very visual. He looks at his opponent, and he's very very alert. He has a very alert look in his eyes most of the time. He has his eyes wide open. That's extroverted sensing. When people use extroverted sensing, and they're really using it a lot, their eyes are a little, you know, real wide like this. I start doing that more often. Like when I'm really into something and it has something to do with extroverted sensing, I do that. I got real good peripheral vision though at sports. I don't know. I've always had real good peripheral vision. Like I can do no look passes. That's natural. I mean, never playing basketball a day in my life. First time I picked up a basketball, I was able to throw no look passes. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. I've had good peripheral vision since I was a kid. So, but yeah, that's what I know. So I'm, you know, very visual.
Lane to dissect his most controversial words and discuss the superstar coach who helped transform AI into the person he is today.
Quite frankly. That show's good.
You are watching Quite Frankly on ESPN2.
But we talking about practice, man. We're not even talking about the game, the actual game, when it matters. We talking about practice. How the hell can I make my teammates better by practicing? I make them
with you.
They supposed to be used to playing with me anyway. Those my teammates. So my game is going to deteriorate if I don't practice with those guys.
when you were
Like, you see how he acts when
saying
he thinks something is stupid. Basically, he thought whatever they said was stupid, and then he just got like angry about it. That sounds like an ISTP to me. Not saying ESTPs do that too, of course, but he might be I'm leaning more towards ISTP, man. I think he might be an ISTP actually. I always thought he was an ISTP, but at the same time, I always would give it the benefit of the doubt and say, oh, he could be ESTP, but we'll see.
You knew everybody. It was the summertime. Y'all had just lost in the playoffs or what have you. What were the kind of things that were going through your mind right when you were saying all of that stuff for the world to see? Because you know everybody in the world saw it.
Because it was about, honestly, like, being in Philadelphia, you know, I go through it, man. Like, I really go through it. It's like...
Go through what exactly?
Hell. I mean, it's like everybody feel like when they see Allen Iverson, it's hands-on, Allen Iverson. When we see him, that's our time too. Not just when he's playing basketball. When I'm feeding my daughter, son, or anything, when I'm with my wife,
like
or anything.
Eminem
I
has said
go
something
through.
similar to this before. I'll do a video on Eminem. I'll do a session on Eminem later, but let's see, I know Eminem is pretty much an ISTP. I've heard people say ISFP. Those are the top two. And maybe INTJ. Everybody's an INTJ, though. I don't know, man. But people always say somebody. It's usually a type of nobody knows who it is. They always say INTJ or something, or INFJ as a suggestion. It's like, I don't know, man. But he's Eminem's an ISTP. I've talked about this many times before in my other videos. I might have not have him up no more, but I'll do a video on him, man. I'll do a type session on him, man. It's pretty obvious. People try to type him as ISFP. I don't really know why. I think maybe because of the fact that he's a music artist. But the thing is, a lot of people who don't listen to rap music regularly, they don't understand the difference between rap music and I don't think they understand as well the difference between like rap music and like singing or something like that. Rap music is all about it's a lot more about technical ability than it is singing. As far as like structure and lyrics, it's all about lyrics because you're not doing nothing with your voice. You just, rapping. As opposed to singing. Singing is more about you doing stuff with your voice and freaking like doing different notes. Rapping, on the other hand, is not about notes you singing on. It's about like technical, putting a word here and piecing together words in certain ways and being clever. Double entendres, triple entendres, schemes, similes. Those are all things. It's so many technical things that are in the rap music. If people like me, I listen to a lot of lyrical rap music, so I understand that. I understand the technical ability, especially the way Eminem raps. So I understand that he probably was a TI. He really broke down the technique of rapping in order to learn how to rap. Probably the most technical rapper of all time. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have anything to do with like him being a filler or anything. It's really him all using his technical ability, but we'll go into that later. I'll keep getting off topic. I don't know why, but
It's tough. It's hard. And I fight for that place, to represent that place the way I'm doing it right now. I fight to represent Philadelphia. I'm not from Philadelphia, from Newport News, Virginia, but I represent Philadelphia. That's how I became a household name to people. And then when I got to hear trade rumors and stuff like that about getting me out of there every single year, after every season, I got to hear talks about this, that, and the third. And I didn't like where it was coming from, the people that was coming from. I didn't like some of the things that were getting out, that people were finding out that was in-house, in family, family conversations. And I was upset. I just came from the meeting with those people, with Billy and Coach. I was upset. It was a bad time. I was really...
It was immediately following the meeting with Billy King and Larry Brown.
It was bad advice. That was given to me, and it was a stupid decision that I made by getting up there. All I wanted to do was tell my fans basically that I wasn't going anywhere, because I had just had that meeting, but I was sick of it, and the meeting was called, and everything was really based on the practice situation that I don't practice. Like I said before, no way I could accomplish the things that I've accomplished in my life as a basketball player if I didn't practice. If any kid out there thinks that I don't practice, then that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not looking at it like a little kid or nothing like that, but just maturing, man, just not
like
knowing. I don't make all the right decisions. I don't do everything the right way. I don't know how to play basketball the right way, like Larry Brown said.
Yeah.
Not every game. Sometimes, you know, I'm gonna explore myself, you know, my game. I'm gonna.
Hey, Theo, man, if you watching this, I literally said the same exact thing. All right, my friend Theo, who's an ISTP, watching my video, got a YouTube himself. We hoop together. If you watching this, man, I know you remember me saying something like this to you before, man. I said the exact same thing about basketball. Like when I play, literally what he just said right here, I said the same exact thing. Literally. The same exact way. Hold on.
The situation that I don't practice, like I said before, like
Not
I
this.
mean, no way I could accomplish the thing. The kid out there thinks that I don't practice.
He was talking about he don't even
then
play
that's-
basketball the right way. Sometimes he just like that part. That's literally what I just said. I've said before.
You know, I'm gonna explore myself.
Yeah,
you know, my
that's
game.
what I do.
I'm
do
gonna
the
do
same
something.
thing.
I'm gonna try.
I try stuff. I do risky stuff when I play basketball. Sometimes I like to explore my skills. It's like same thing.
I don't know what playing the right way is. I know what he mean, literally, like playing the game the right way, playing unselfishly. He's the greatest coach that ever coached this game to me,
Yeah,
in my heart.
I'm the same way.
He's the greatest coach I ever. I mean, the way he get everything out of his players, everything. He's the best coach that I've ever been around.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up Larry Brown, because would you like to hear what he had to say about you?
Absolutely.
Play the tape.
When he goes out to play, he gives everything he can to possibly win. He might sometimes be misguided,
He just plays.
but he
don't
competes
think.
every
You don't
single
think about
night.
it like,
He'll never let his teammates down
overthink.
in terms of giving effort and trying to win. And I love him for that. I wish that he
you about to cry?
realized when kids watch that, they're not seeing the real side of him. You know, he could have the greatest
It's a resolution. It
effect
kind of like he's about to cry
on
for a second.
kids of any athlete
can't
that
even
I've
think
ever
it was a
been
resolution.
associated with.
I see tears welling in your eyes, my man. Why?
Nah, I got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, he
love him.
about
I
to start
mean,
crying. He was.
He taught me a lot. Like, he taught me a lot. Like, I learned a lot. I learned, you know, that you ain't always right, you know, and just because somebody disciplining you, you know, that don't mean they don't love you, you know. I mean, they trying to get you to get right. They trying to get you to the point you at right now.
Got
There
emotional.
are times in your career that,
They're like an FE reference.
regardless of your respect for
They
him,
say we more keen to, if we do get emotional, we more prone to crying in public and stuff like that. I don't know, that's kind of embarrassing, but it is happened. I don't cry often. Well, we more keen to that. That's what I've heard that before, but he got real emotional right there, and it looked like he got overwhelmed with it. It happened pretty quick, man. He must have actually been building up those emotions the whole time he was talking. It just didn't look like it necessarily. It looked like he was just talking about it. Probably so frustrated about the situation and stuff like that.
did you ever feel, it almost came across as if sometimes you felt victimized by him in the process of him trying to teach you.
Yeah.
He always said that you felt victimized by him, and he didn't just look at himself as a coach to you, but also like a father figure to you. What's your
'Cause
response to that?
I didn't know. I didn't know nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm blessed with what God gave me. He gave me a talent, man. When I came to this league, the talent that he gave me, people wanted me to be 35 years old right then. Like, this guy with all this talent, this guy who, that has the effect on all of these people in the world like this, we want him to be this way. Well, I didn't want to be that. You know what I mean?
What did you want to be?
Me.
And who is you?
A human, man.
Who
somebody
are you?
that bleeds, somebody that cry, somebody that make mistakes, somebody that, I'm real, just like everybody else, man. I'm human, man. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not even 50% perfect. You feel me? I mean, I'm human, man. I made mistakes along the way, man. I've been to jail 3 times, man. And not saying that I did what they said I did, but in those situations, it called for me to go to jail. In those situations, like for my actions, for my part on everything, I deserve to be exactly where I was at every time that I went. And I accept that. I accept who I am.
But you even say that with the bowling alley brawl that took place in high school, where
I
you were
said I was
incarcerated
there.
for 4 months.
I was there.
But you were granted clemency by the governor on his last day in office. If that is not an exoneration, what else is there?
Yeah.
I mean, he basically said you didn't deserve to be there by granting you clemency.
Right.
You still feel like you deserve to be there?
Man, I went through what I went through because God said go through it. That's why I went through it, and I overcame it. I overcame all of that, man, and that's what that's my whole thing. I'm doing a charity event in Maryland. A celebrity football game.
You got a celebrity football game. You got a celebrity softball game, which, by the way, I embarrassed myself in a few years ago, but we won't tell the audience about that.
So yeah, let's just gonna stop it right there. If y'all end up liking this one, and y'all want me to, I'll do a part 2 to this because this video long. I'll just do like a part 2 though, if y'all like it, But yeah, man. Conclusion so far, I say he's an ISTP. I think he's an ISTP, not a ESTP. Yeah, I think he's an ISTP. I sometimes go back and forth because sometimes it's kind of tricky, man. And it's like I just want to stay open-minded. I don't want to be, I think he's an ISTP though, man. Next, I want to maybe do like Kobe and Floyd Mayweather. I want to do Michael Vick too. I wonder if Michael Vick is a STP. I wonder if he could be an ISTP or something. Also, Kyrie Irving. Call me crazy if you want to, but I actually think Kyrie Irving is an ISTP. But I'm gonna give you some good reasons. Don't crucify me for that if y'all don't believe me, because I saw an interview of Kyrie Irving, and it gave me a lot of good reason to say that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. That's it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what you want to see next. You know what I'm saying? I might do Floyd next or something, but we'll see. See you.